Hey guys, how's it going? It's Philip, a Trade Genius. Okay, so kind of a lot of stuff happened overnight, and I kind of want to break it down for you. And this is in regards to Tether. So there's been a lot of buzz in the cryptoverse, if you will, about Tether and its solvency and its association with the Bitfinex exchange. And so I kind of want to just go through what we know and what happened overnight and how that affected Bitcoin pricing and kind of like what can we expect going forward. So first of all, if you're not sure what Tether is basically a USD token. So basically, if for every Tether, USDT is the symbol. So every USDT that there's a supposedly a dollar backing it in the Omni Foundation, I guess, bank account. So the it's always been there's been some speculation thrown out there that they're not audited. How do we know there's really the money to back it, this and that? And we'll get into that in a little bit. But so essentially what happened overnight was that they got hacked. And so what ended up happening across the exchanges last night was that they were stopping any kind of wallet service. You couldn't withdraw or deposit this USDT or USD Tether to any of the exchanges because an emergency hard fork had to take place. And what that essentially meant was that they were going to change the code so that the person that hacked their multi-sig wallet and took almost 30, I mean, you can see the announcement here. I'll put it up for you guys. So this was their critical announcement page. So basically they said almost 31 million USDT was removed from the Tether Treasury wallet on November 19th. So last night, basically, they got around to contacting the exchanges and saying, look, if this address has all of those tokens. So they made a hard fork of the actual Omni layer, which is the layer that does the transacting of the USDT, to block this address. And this, you can see actually all this on this is Bitfinex on Twitter. He kind of goes after Tether and Bitfinex, but this was like the actual code. They hard coded that address to block it essentially, and then this was all of the transactions that were being sent to that address. So somehow a multi-sig wallet got hacked into. Now, and then of course we had like the Bloomberg Technology article comes out about Bitcoin falling after a $31 million theft of cryptocurrency, which came out at 1:22 a.m. Eastern, almost immediately outdated because Bitcoin recovered pretty quickly, which we'll get into as well. So, but okay, so here, so they admit they get hacked. They basically do a hard fork to erase the hack and make those tokens that was stolen unspendable. This is pretty much essentially what happened with Ethereum back, a few months ago. The DAO got hacked. All that money was stolen. They decided as a community to undo that transaction by hard forking and rendering that useless. Then there was two chains. There was Ethereum Classic, the old chain, and then the new one that they erased that hack on. And the same thing happened here. So that brings up an interesting point. So the USD Tether group, it's centralized, right? So they can just go ahead, and if they deem that they need to erase a transaction or something like that, they can do it. So you need to understand that about Tether. It's not decentralized like Bitcoin. It's very centralized. The other thing is, you can speculate all you want about USD Tether, but it's all speculation until they come out with an audit. Now, they are tied to Bitfinex. The same guys that run Bitfinex, the exchange, also run Tether. Okay, so a question I have is like, how do they make money with Tether? If they're making money on the interest sitting in the account, then they're loaning it out, and that there's an issue there as far as segregated funds. So, these are just questions that probably should be clarified by those guys, and so even if this hack had happened, the 30 million, I don't think that really would have affected really the Bitcoin pricing a whole lot. I mean, yeah, it may have put a dent If, say, the guy, actually, if he stole Tether, he could actually buy Bitcoin up, so it actually might have a bullish effect. Now, if we go to the Bitcoin chart, right, this was, the announcement happened, people panicked and sold. I didn't really follow the logic of this, and I once I saw this, and then I saw the news break about the Tether hack, I was like, okay, so it's a panic thing. And I didn't really follow the logic, because if you're, a lot of these guys, because the exchanges won't deal in USD, a lot of the transactions are, if you're going to sell your Bitcoin, you're selling into Tether or USDT. And so I just didn't really follow the logic of that. Anyway, it got immediately bought back up once we hit some of these critical, like this fib zone. It went through a previous fib zone, a buy fib zone, and went into this fib zone, which was a stronger fib zone. As you can see, this is where kind of the volume stacks are, and there's one here, and it just kind of went up to this bear fib zone that was created, and then broke through that immediately and went right back up. And now we're into the London session, and it seems like about after 5 a.m. Eastern, more buying comes in. So we'll see what happens. But essentially, it just erased. That was just like a flash crash, and the move was erased. So, you know, they've hard forked it. Basically, that hack, or that they're going to undo that hack essentially. But you know, the way I look at it, here we have a situation where you have Bitfinex as an exchange. They've been hacked before. Now they basically are behind the USD Tether. That's been hacked. You start to like question, you know, their security protocols or whatever. So what I would suggest is that if you're accustomed to holding your assets in Tether, you may want to consider how much risk is involved with that. Because when this went down, Tether wallets were locked up. You couldn't do anything with the exchanges. So, you know, there's something to bear in mind. Will this affect really Bitcoin critically? I personally don't think so. You know, I think Bitfinex now is under more pressure probably than ever to show some, you know, some audits on that stuff. What it would affect, if something did happen to Tether, it would affect some of those exchanges like Bittrex and Poloniex that don't actually deal in US dollars, unlike say GDAX or Kraken. Those guys deal in dollars, so it really wouldn't affect them. But those other exchanges, you know, they would have to find another mechanism that they could trade. Now, it wouldn't affect BTC to other altcoins. That could happen all day long. But if you had that, you wanted to go into cash equivalent, you couldn't do that with the Tether. So if something happened with the Tethers, I wouldn't say it's like, you know, there might be some disruption price-wise across the board, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Personally, I think people will trade, you know, in and out of alts and stuff like that, or move to an exchange where they can just, if they do want to go to cash, they'll just go back into USD or whatever local currency that they're dealing with. So, so anyway, just wanted to clear that up. Basically, USD Tether got hacked. They undid the hack with a hard fork. That's why all the wallets went down for a period of time. And I think at this point, they probably should come forward and kind of just provide an audit and basically show everybody that everything's on the up and up. And I know Bitfinex as an exchange is working on that. They haven't completed it yet, but they've said they're going to. And I think there's a lot of suspicion when an exchange also is behind a dollar token. I think there's probably some suspicion of some sort of opens up some nefarious possibilities, but we don't know. It's all speculation, and I think an audit would probably just put all that to rest. So I thought I'd get that out there for you guys, and just, you know, let you know, kind of clarify what happened. Again, back to Bitcoin pricing. We sliced down into this fib buy zone here, good volume support here. Tons of volume came in on this down move and bounced us right back up into, now we're into the London session. So we'll see by the time you guys see this video in a few hours how London did or didn't do as far as buying it up. This fib zone is done, so we get rid of that, and we would be looking at, if there was any retrace, then we would be looking at this level here. Would hold, let's just say if it pulled back into this level, about retest 8,000 if we had another pullback from this range. Otherwise, we're not too far off from the all-time highs here. We are currently at 81.79, and we were just shy on Coinbase of 8,300. So pretty big run up. Got very oversold on the hourly, and when you get the hourly oversold on the RSI down to these levels like 18, they usually provide a pretty decent bounce. I mean, you'll get bounces and they don't get that low, but if we can see one here, just so you guys get some reference. See, this was a pretty low dip here in RSI and major bottom there. So those kind of hourly readings are pretty powerful for bounces. All right, so basically, I think a little bit of panic selling, guys, and I think we're more or less back to the areas that we were, and we'll see. It would have to break through this. Basically, here is resistance, this 8,300. So we'll see how it reacts to that, and maybe it pushes up against it and falls back, reloads, and then tries again. We'll just see what happens. Right now, this formed this kind of a bullish price channel, and so we'll see how that reacts to that as well. All right, guys, that's it. Just wanted to let you guys know. If you have any other questions, please post them below. If you like the video, please hit subscribe. If you're interested in any of our indicators or things like that, hit that link below. We're doing November specials on all of our packages. Thanks for watching, guys, as usual. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.